Hey, sports fans, Larry Eder here. This is Socialing the Distance, and we have a real treat today. Bobby Thomas, who won the World Athletics Junior title. Back then it was called the IAAF World Junior Cross Country title in 1975. Bobby, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Larry.
So I want to take you back a few years. Rich Kimball had won the World Cross the year before. You led the U.S. team in 75 with such stalwarts as Eric Holst, Don Clary, Ralph Cerna. And you guys took gold that year in Rabat, which I've talked to Bill Rogers about. He said that course was pretty darn tough. What do you remember about the experience?
Well, let me just correct you a little bit. Eric Hulse wasn't on the team. It
He
was
was
Roy Kissin was on the team.
Roy Kissin. My apologies. Okay, because
Eric,
Roy was a Stanford graduate, and he
yes,
produced a film with um, a running film about 30 years ago with
yes,
who is it? Bruce.
Bruce
God,
Stern.
Bruce Dern. Yeah. So sorry about that. Okay, thank you. So it was. Thank you for correcting me. So it was Roy Kissin, Don Clary, Ralph Cernan. Who else was on the team?
Myself. There's only four people on the team, four
Okay. Oh
runners.
wow. Okay.
So Roy
Okay.
Kissin, Don Clary, Ralph Cerna, and myself. Actually, since you mentioned Eric Hulse won the junior world championships the very next year in 1976,
That's what it was.
well
Okay.
as as well as the world as well as the team championship as well.
Wow. What do you think it was about the American team at that time, Bobby?
They were it was a unique age. It was called we called it the golden age of distance running, and back in the mid '70s,
Yeah.
and it started from the early '70s all the way to the end of the '70s, 1970s,
Yeah.
and they were just phenomenal runners. And we sort of the weather here in California is pretty good, and and so we just were able to train during the summer, during the wintertime, and because that you generate the mileage and you can become stronger endurance
Uh-huh.
wise. And
Yeah.
then there's the people who are also speedsters who will kick at the end of the race and win a lot of races that way. And when you put mileage and endurance on speedsters, you get incredible times.
Now, where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Glendale High School.
And Mark Covert was your coach there as well?
No, John Barnes, who's an Olympian in the
Okay. Okay.
1950s. He was a
Okay.
half middle distance Olympian,
Okay.
and also a gentleman by the name of I can't remember his name right now. But also Mark didn't. I didn't meet Mark until I went to Glendale College, which was a community college in those days.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now talk to us about your training at the time.
In high school.
Yes.
So in high school, I ran what the other team members ran. I ran 50 to 70 miles per week, and I was a year behind them. My parents put me ahead early,
Uh-huh.
and so I was a year behind them. So if I'm 15 in high school, then the guys I'm running against in my grade are 16.
Oh
So
wow.
so that's I was always a year behind as far as that, and but I really enjoyed running, and so I would run and do the workouts that the coach suggested, and gradually each year I improved. So that by my senior year, I was winning dual meet races. You know, we do a mile and then 2 mile, and
Mhm.
I'd be winning them both. There was one person who was my crosstown rival. His name was John Music, and he wound up being the half mile state champion that year in 1975.
Oh,
Or no,
cool.
1974.
So far, okay.
Yeah, and
What good.
so I would be competing against him, and John would run a great race that week, and so the next week I'd work harder and see if I could beat that time,
Oh.
and we'd meet together 3 or 4 times a season, and compete that way. And sometimes I would win, and sometimes he would win, and so it's fun. It was a lot of fun, but that competition, got us to gave us the incentive to wake up early in the morning, 6 o'clock before school, get in some mileage, maybe 2 or 3 miles in those days,
Mhm.
and then go to school, take a shower, go to school, and then in the afternoon do another workout. So I'd be doing two double workouts, and double workouts for me really improved my ability. So
Mhm.
that in cross country, I came in sixth in the CIF 4A, and I ran a 2 mile that senior year at 9:06.3, which was a school record.
Wow. That's
And
cool.
interesting in that race, it was the Arcadia Track Invitational.
Yeah.
And the race that I was in, Eric Hulse was in it, and he won that race and pulled me along to a better time of 9:06.3. So what we did is we helped each other, by through competition, through desire to do better than them, and then in the races to pull each other along to better times.
What was it about your love of cross country that helped you excel?
That I was not very coordinated with regard to ball sports.
Okay.
And so team sports, I was in high school. I mean, in elementary school, I was the last kid chosen,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, I found that these people who I thought were better athletes with me, when I compete against them in races, I would be beating them in longer, not in short distance, but in longer distance races. All of a sudden, I'm coming ahead of them, and that encouraged me. And so when I went into middle school, the the my parents encouraged me to be in a sport that I would like, and that seemed to be the sport that I wanted that I would gravitate to because I would be better in than any of the others. And so that's how I did it, and I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I didn't actually win my first race till I was a junior in high school,
Oh,
but
wow.
I just enjoyed the whole atmosphere and the competition of it, and knowing that I could do better than what I would do in other sports.
When you graduated from high school, what were your best times at the, well, 880 back then, mile and 2 mile?
880 was probably around 158, I think.
Okay. Okay.
The mile was
Okay.
417.1, and the 2 mile was 906.3.
Now, had you run a 3 mile in high school?
No,
Okay. Okay.
back in those days they didn't they thought it hurt us to run longer distances in races.
And
So we
what
ran
was good?
so
I'm
we
sorry.
ran 2 miles in cross country, which
Okay.
was my favorite sport, and
Yeah.
we ran 2 miles at the longest distance in high school.
And
I mean, in track.
your senior year of high school would have been 74, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, I
Um,
graduated June '74.
so did you have dreams that year of trying out for the world cross country at the time?
Well, here's what happened. Back in March of '74, Rich Kimball won that Junior World Cross Country Championship,
Right?
and Runner's World put his picture right on the front cover.
Yep. I've got that. Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'd look at that and I'd put it under my pillow, and I'm going, oh my goodness, if I could do something like that someday, that would be so great. I mean, it was just a phenomenal thing, and I loved cross country, and I thought, well, maybe it's a possibility if I work hard enough,
Hmm.
and so that's what I did. But what happened was is that I I wasn't a speedster. I had to win races by endurance. And if
Sure.
if someone was with me the last lap, the last 400 yards of a race, they're going to win
Yeah.
because I couldn't didn't have a strong kick at the end. But the races that I did win, I'd win by a long distance because I would get out and use my endurance ability to win races. And the people who were speedsters and didn't have the endurance, they couldn't catch me. It's a combination of speedsters that had endurance. Those were the ones that I had trouble with.
Where did you meet Eric Hulst?
I met Eric at the Glendale Relays. His
Okay.
coach, Lynn Martin, brought him there when he was a freshman. So
Oh, wow.
he was like 15 years old as a freshman.
Yeah.
Eric was a little bit older in his years,
Yeah.
um, as far as grade is concerned, but as I understood it. But he was phenomenal. I mean, he ran like a 9:18 that at Glendale Relays, and everybody was talking about him. You know,
Yeah.
it was the buzzword of all the athletes. Oh my goodness, Eric Hulse is here. You know, and these are guys that Eric Hulse, Ralph Cerna, Terry Williams, all these
Yep. Oh yeah.
incredible runners. You know, you in that you sort of worship them. You know, they're the guys you want to hopefully someday compete against.
Now, did you compete against Benton Hart?
I don't remember that name.
Okay. Yeah. Benton was competed against Terry. Benton was up at I think University of Oregon during that around the time that Terry was there. Um, Talk to me about how you got to Glendale.
Well, my grades weren't very good.
No.
And I remember 906 isn't it's a nice time, but it's not a great time.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have the ability to get a scholarship.
Okay.
And so Glendale College was inexpensive. It didn't cost anything, I think, in those days. And it was kind of like a small school environment, which is what I enjoyed. I
Hmm.
didn't, and so, but what happened was at the end of the at the end of the track season in 1974, I did not do well. I didn't make it to the CIF finals,
Okay.
and so I was really upset about it. And what could I do? And I decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to run this run that my favorite run is in the hills, and it's a 10-mile run from my house. And I'm just going to do that, even if I jog it. I'm just gonna run that every day. And then whatever the Glendale college team does, I'll do that in the afternoon. So that's what I would do. I just got up at 6 o'clock in the morning
Wow.
and I ran my 10 miles in the hills.
Hmm.
You know, it wasn't all hilly. It was just maybe a quarter of it was hilly, but that's what I did. And then I just went with the Glendale College team with under Mark Covert, and we would run, you know, sometimes 8 miles, sometimes 10 miles, that type of thing. So I was possibly getting in 20 miles a day, and then on Sunday we would run a 20 miler. You know, so
Wow.
it'd
Yep.
be only one workout and it'd be a 20 miler, and so that's what I did. And so I just did that. I didn't push myself during the summer. I just ran and I just
Yep.
got in the miles. And that's the first summer I did. I ran all summer long and high mileage. And so, and I was 17 years old then. And so I had maturity and I also had the miles underneath me. And I didn't realize how good I was until the first cross country race. And I won that race by like about a minute. I mean, it was incredible.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, so then that year in the cross country season, I was undefeated. I was the best distance runner in cross country runner in Glendale in the college. I mean, in the state. I
Mhm.
won the state meet, and I won that by over a minute, by a minute, I think. And I set the course record on Mount Sac, which they retired the course in 2000, but no one had beat it since then. So technically, it's still there. I still have it.
Now tell
Um,
me of that story because I was reading in the LA Times and I know Mark Covert fairly well. I was around Don Rue a bit and he is a character. And so the story is you actually ran 1909, but Rue gave you credit for a 1919 because he didn't think anybody could run that fast. Is that true?
well, that was Mark's story, and I didn't have a watch on, and so I don't know for certain. But you know,
Yeah.
Mark's a truthful guy, and he doesn't give me he never gave me anything saying, "Oh wow, you're really great." He always he didn't say that at all. He was always very matter of fact around me, and did not try to make my head bigger than it already was because of all the races I was winning. You
Yeah.
know, he was he treated me very humbly. Let's put it that way. And so he didn't exaggerate. And if he says I ran 1910, then that's what I ran. You know, because he wouldn't have embellished it. You know, for me.
So how did you make the world cross country team?
Well, right after the state meet, um, we the person who had the course record was Terry Cotton, and
Yep. Hummel Toads. Yeah. Yeah.
he held the course on the course record on that course, and I beat it. And he ran 1940 something, and I ran after doing it three times. I ran 1919 at the last, and yeah, so it was pretty heady experience. So I was a state champion. I was the best in the state. And then Mark, for Thanksgiving, they had the AAU Nationals at Crystal Springs in
Yep, I was up there. Yeah,
1974.
yeah,
Well, that's a hilly course, and I excelled in hills.
yeah.
And Mark told me, he said, just get out fast because the trail narrows down after the first mile. You get out there fast. So that's what I did. Me and oh, I can't remember his name now, but I'll remember it. But me and another person on the team, on the San Fernando Valley track team, we went out and we were there in the first at the mile mark. We were in the first 10. And
Wow.
if you look at the Runner's World took a picture of that and put it on
Yep.
the front of their, and if you look at it on the right, you can see my head if you know who I am.
Oh,
And
cool. I'll check it out. Yeah, I've got that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm right up there. I'm right up there. It's on the, as you look at it, it's on the left hand side.
cool.
And then after the about the most I had ever raced was 4 miles for cross country, and this was 6 miles. And so after about the middle of the race, it hit me, and people just started passing me. And one of the people who passed me was Frank Shorter,
Oh,
and
wow.
I look at him and he's passing me with about a mile to go, and I'm going, oh my goodness, that's Frank Shorter.
Yeah,
But that was a very painful race. But I came in the top 25. I mean, top 25.
that's
I was
amazing. Well,
I
that's a
was
tough course to tell our viewers. I was on the course that day. I wanted to meet Frank Shorter, which I did, and I was at the mile point. We ran the first 3 miles of that course for high school in Northern California. But that course, you had John Nino, Nick Rose, Frank Shorter, Ted Castaneda. You had an incredible cast of characters. Um, Don Franken wanted to know if the guy you were running with was it Jerry Alexander or Steve Brown?
No, it was a Southern California guy.
Okay, okay, okay.
Oh my goodness, I knew him.
Well, we'll look them up. I'll pull the results, and
Okay,
so when we do the back stuff. So you ran the AAU senior race, and then from there, did they then name you to the world team?
no, we had to run a junior national race.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Mark signed me up for that, and it was in December of 1974,
Okay,
and it was in Alameda, California, and it was
okay.
along the bay, and it was very foggy and was completely flat.
Uh-huh.
So what I have going for me is I'm good in hills and I
Yeah,
have good endurance, and I didn't have I didn't have the hills there to help me.
yeah.
And so this was a really memorable race for me because it was about 7 kilometers long, I think, and I didn't really, it was really foggy, so foggy that we could only see maybe 20 yards in front of us.
Wow.
And I didn't know the course, and we had to jump over these barriers,
Yeah.
cross country barriers. So it was like in on track and on the track when you those kind of
The
barriers,
steeple barriers. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
steeplechase barriers. Yeah. So at the round the with about a mile to go, no, yeah, with it was so foggy that Eric Hulst went the wrong way.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
he went the wrong way, and I was following Eric because he's the guy to try to stay with. And all of a sudden, I was in a pack of runners, and the pack veered. Eric went to the left, and the pack veered me to the right. And you know, I just went with them because that's where everybody was going, and I'm looking at Eric going the wrong way, and you know, what do you do?
Yeah.
Nothing. You know, he figured it out and realized it and came back to it. But with about a mile to go, Ralph Cerna, I start increasing my speed, and Ralph Cerna takes off with me. And this is really a memorable experience for me because I idolize Ralph Cerna.
Oh,
And
yeah.
here I am running with him. And remember, Ralph's a speedster, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But here's the key. He doesn't really know me that well, and he doesn't know that I'm not a speedster. so, so we are just running all out. I'm running just as fast as I possibly can, but we don't know where the finish line is. We have no idea where it is. We can't see it. All we see is this fog in the front.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden I see this steeplechase barrier coming up, and And for some reason, for some reason, Ralph Cerna doesn't stay with me anymore. It's not like I'm speeding up. It's like we just almost burned each other out so much.
Yeah.
And Mark told me, he said, listen, when you go over this barrier, put your foot on it first and then just push over. Don't try to, don't do anything funny with it. Don't try to jump over it. Just put your foot on top of it and then push off. And that's exactly what I did. And it gave me enough momentum to make it to the finish line, which was probably about 100 yards away. And Ralph, he was burned out, and he straddled over it. There's pictures of it, and he jokes about it. You should call Ralph and ask him about it. But he straddled over it and then got back on his speed and started kicking for the finish line. I'm ahead of him, and then out of the blue, there's this guy John Roscoe, and he's old enough it's for 19-year-olds and under. The races, it's a junior race, and he's old enough to be in that race, but he's not old enough to be in the world race.
Okay.
So, but he has a kick, unbelievable kick, and he's maybe in fourth place right now, and he hurdles the barrier and is heading right for me.
Wow.
And I'm at the finish line where I'm 10 yards from the finish line. And I'm going, I'm almost there. And I'm running as hard as I possibly can. And I'm looking at the people, and they're not looking at me. They're looking behind me. And they're all have this shocked look on their face, right? And I'm seeing the finish line right in front of me. And as soon as I cross that finish line, I get hit from behind by John Roscoe because he's going so fast.
Wow.
He can't slow down.
Wow.
And he didn't hurt me, and we didn't fall down or anything like that, but it was like a dramatic push, right? And so when you look at the race results, we're almost at the exact same time. He's like maybe a tenth of a second behind me in the race.
That's amazing.
And then Ralph Cerna came in third, and Eric Hulst came in. I think he came in fourth, which would have made the team. But for some reason, Eric decided not to race that year in Rabat, Morocco. He was concentrating more on the track and field, I guess. Cool. But so for some reason, so because John Roscoe couldn't make the team because he was too old, they asked Don Clary, and I don't know how that happened, but they asked Don Clary to be on the team. Yeah. Don Clary's from Alaska.
Yeah.
And then he went to Oregon.
Yep. Yeah. I met Don at Oregon. I went to Santa Clara University, and I remember one of the years, I think it was 77, I helped Samson Kimawamba and Henry Rono get to the starting line of the Pac 8s because they didn't know where their team was at WSU. So you had Oregon on one side of me, us, and then WSU. And
was that the Stanford course?
Oh yeah.
I was in that race.
Cool.
Yeah, I came in fifth. That was like my best race ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was a 6-mile course. Still, they ran 6 miles.
Yep.
Terry Williams came in. I can't pronounce the name. Nino came in first.
John Nino. Yep.
Yeah, and then Terry Williams came in second. Yeah. And then a couple of people from Washington State, but I think Samson Kimawamba,
because that next year he broke the world record at the 10, Yeah,
and I came in fifth. I came in fifth right behind him.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like the best race I have ever run in my life. It was just incredible.
It was a great course. I mean, I loved the Stanford course. You had a pretty good opening, and then you got onto the back part of that course, and boy, were there some nice rolling hills, and then you came running down, and it was just. It was fantastic.
I ran that for UCLA. I was running for UCLA then.
Who was your coach at UCLA?
Hal Harkness, a great coach.
Okay.
Really
okay.
Great.
Cool. Yeah. Talk to me about going to Rabat. How did you do that in 1975?
I won the nationals, and the top 4 got to go.
Yeah.
So I was on the team. And the AAU, National AAU, they paid for the trip, and they gave us uniforms. The sweats arrived a little bit late, so we didn't get those.
Yeah.
but it was such an incredible opportunity because we traveled with the men's team and the women's team,
Uh-huh.
and the men's team was basically the Florida Track Club,
Oh yeah. So you
and
had Shorter and
that included um, uh, I can't even
Jeff
remember.
Galloway. Was Jeff on there?
Jeff Galloway, yeah, Jeff Galloway and Frank Shorter, and I think Barry Brown,
Yep.
and
Barry was. Yep.
yeah, and maybe there were a couple others as well. But yeah, so basically, I'm traveling with the
Wow.
1972 gold medalists. You know,
Yeah.
Frank Shorter in the marathon. It's just incredible. So we flew to New York, and Frank said, "Yeah, we gotta go run. You know, be waiting for our plane to go to Lisbon, Portugal." So we ran around the airport in New York, got in maybe 8 miles or whatever, and then got back on another plane and flew to Portugal. In that
Wow.
on that year, a week before the communists tried to take over Portugal,
Yeah.
and so we flew into Lisbon, and I remember getting off the plane, and there was remember I'm a little guy from sheltered guy from Glendale, California, you know,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
there's soldiers on either side of us as we walk out of the plane, and they have machine guns,
Yes.
you know, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
So they were protecting us, yeah.
Oh wow.
And then from Lisbon, Portugal, we flew to Morocco,
Oh wow.
and then took a bus to Rabat, Morocco, and that's where the race was.
Tell me about the course because I've heard stories about it. Um, it was in a hippodrome, a horse
Yeah, a
stadium.
horse racetrack.
Okay.
So it's in a hippodrome, and we ran outside um, one lap, and then I think it was maybe 3 or 4 laps, and then and we ran inside the hippodrome, inside the green area, the grass area,
Oh
and
wow.
there was kind of something to jump down and jump up a little ravine in the middle of it, whatever. And but it was interesting because this was my first and last international race, and they told us let the Morocco is the hosting country, and so we have to let them be in front for the first lap till they go beyond the stands, and then the race begins. So we all just stayed behind the Moroccan team so that to give them the honor of running in front of their fans, their country.
Yeah.
And then after we passed the stands, then the race began. And
Wow.
yeah, so I just started I didn't lead the race in the beginning, but I just started picking up my pace, and slowly I slowly got myself into the front of the team, and just started pushing the course and running my race. It was a flat course. Other than that little ravine in the middle of the stadium,
Yeah.
in the middle of the track, it was pretty flat, so very flat. But I just ran it really as hard as I possibly could, and I had developed some speed,
Mhm.
not enough for a fast kick at the end, but just speed in my pacing. And before that, 2 weeks before that, Mark Covert and John Tansley, who was the coach at Glendale College,
Yep.
they set me up for a race in Long Beach, a 3 mile track race,
Uh-huh.
and I set the national record. And it was a feel good race just to see how good a shape I was in.
Sure.
And Ed Mendoza held the 3 mile record
Yep. I
for
remember
junior
Ed. Yep.
colleges, and I
Yep.
beat that record.
Wow.
I ran 13:36.4, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I was thinking to myself, in Morocco, I'm going, all these athletes I'm walking around with, I'm going, how many of them can run 13:36 in the 3 mile?
Yeah.
Not many. Yeah. So I figured so that was like a confidence builder for me,
Sure. Sure.
which
You
my coach. And here's another thing that Mark told me. He said, listen, about a week beforehand, set your clocks, set your watch to Morocco time, and run and start doing your training and run your life on Morocco time, so that when you
wow.
get to Morocco, when you get to Morocco, you don't have any jet lag.
Yep.
You're there already.
And
And so
how did
that's
it
what I
work?
did.
It worked?
It worked. Yeah.
Wow.
So I didn't have any jet lag. I wasn't sick from travel or anything. I wasn't tired. I was just living my life, because I was on Morocco time the week before.
That's incredible. You ran against Juan Gonzalez from Spain and John Tracy from Ireland, two
Yeah.
incredibly talented athletes. It was a really talented crew that you were running against from around the world because that was the World Cross Country at the time was such an international race. And in the senior race, they had Bill Rogers who took third, Ian Stewart who won that year, a Olympic bronze medalist and a European and Commonwealth Games champ, Mariano Haro, the great Spanish runner. So you had these runners come through the ranks, and I call it still the World Series of cross country. And how do you how did you take it then? When you crossed the finish line, did you understand what you had done?
Well, I had been dreaming about it for so long. And
Yeah.
then when I actually finally did it,
Mm.
I it was kind of like anticlimactic. I
Yeah.
was satisfied with it. I was going, wow, I can't believe I did it. But I didn't feel any different.
Yeah.
I didn't feel any different. And it's interesting because in 1985, Juan Carlos Gonzalez, he
Yeah.
he ran a 3:47 mile. I
Yes.
mean,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
And in 1984, John Tracy came in second in the marathon and was a silver medalist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
before that in 77 or no, 78 and 79, he was the senior world champion in cross country
Yeah.
in
Oh, no, he won it
Glasgow.
twice. Yeah.
So I mean, these guys, I beat those guys. I beat Juan Gonzalez by 18 seconds. I beat John Tracy by 23 seconds. I mean,
Wow.
I
Wow.
I was I was really good, and I was really looking forward to the Olympics. And then my body just started breaking down. I mean, I was good for another year, and
Yeah.
then my body just started breaking down, and I couldn't handle it. I developed some heel spurs
Uh-huh.
that and the way the podiatrist told me was that when I'm walking and running, my feet would twist a little bit. And
Yeah.
so what my body did is it created spurs on the back of my heels to protect it
Wow.
from the twisting, from the friction.
Wow.
And I had to eventually, delayed it. I took cortisone shots because delay it as much as possible. But eventually,
Sure.
I had to have surgery. And by
Uh,
the time I had surgery, it was my senior year in college.
yeah.
And my parents said, "Listen, you just got to focus on getting your degree,
Yeah.
and so that you can start working after college." And so
Wow.
that's what I did. And I figured, well, I'll get back. It was 1970. It was 1980.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I can get back and run in 1984. But I started back. I got in pretty good shape, but I didn't. I wasn't. I think I did something stupid. I went skiing up in Mammoth, and I one of the bindings on my skis didn't pop, and so my knee twisted.
Uh,
And when that happened, that was it. It
that's too
was,
bad.
I'm trying to work at the same time, trying to develop my skills in my job, my new job in real estate,
Yeah.
and also train. And it was just too much for me. So I just focused on making money.
Understand. Do you follow the sport still today?
I follow it, but I never was a technician with regard to times and places and who
Sure.
these athletes are or whatever. I just enjoy watching on TV and watching the sport. And but it's a fun sport. I enjoy it, but I'm not passionate about it. I go at first. When I didn't want to see the races at all, and in the
Yeah.
'80s, because I knew that these guys that I were running against, I had beat some of them. You know what I mean? These
Sure.
guys were doing phenomenal, and so many of these athletes that I ran against had long careers, running
Oh, yeah.
careers,
Yeah.
and did a great job, and were some of them were Olympians.
Don Clary made Olympic team. Roy Kissin ran well and became a
Yes.
film director. Eric Hulst, I ran against Eric when he was up at Nevada, Reno, and I was at Santa Clara. He unfortunately, died young. He passed away of a brain tumor in his 20s. But he had gone to UC Irvine. What a tremendous athlete, And Ralph Cerna, besides being a fine runner, is one of the most brilliant shoe designers in running. I mean, his shoe stuff, Bobby, is incredible. I don't know if you get to spend time with him anymore or keep up with him, but I get to see him occasionally at a show or, we email. And no, you ran in a, as you said, a golden age. So I have you've survived over 35 minutes with me. You've done great. You got about 5 more minutes?
Yeah. Let me tell
Good.
you a story.
Please.
So this was happened about 15 years ago.
Okay.
A guy by the name of Dan Martinez calls me up
Okay.
and he says, we're looking for someone named Bobby Thomas. And of course, I hadn't heard that name in years other than my family saying it. So I'm
Yeah.
going, well, yeah, I'm Bobby. And he says, yeah, were you a distance runner running for Glendale? And I said, yeah, that's me. And he said, listen, Bobby, we want to invite you to the runners reunion in Southern California in Fullerton.
Oh my
And
gosh, Ralph's event. Yeah.
yeah, Ralph and I are putting this together. We've done it for about 7 years, and we were looking for you. And I just happened to just pull up the telephone book and started calling up Thomas's
Wow.
and that's how he got it. So I owe it all to Dan Martinez for getting me involved in
Oh.
in the sport again.
Yeah, that's one of the events that I really want to get on my calendar. I get notes from Ralph about it, and it's all I hear is my friends that have gone have had such a wonderful time.
Yeah,
And
and it's also you know it doesn't have to you don't have to be an elite runner. I mean you
that's cool.
pass you can be in any athlete that ran in that period of time or even earlier or even later that
Yes.
are distance runners. They really it's a really cool thing and also the you get to see the times that these people did and actually
Yeah.
talk to them
Yeah.
about the races and things like that and Ralph is just so knowledgeable like yourself. He's very knowledgeable about the sport
Oh,
and
God,
he's very
he sent me pictures of the 1974 CIF 2 mile, where he battled. It was Holst and a whole crew, and I had never been able to find those pictures anywhere. And he told the story for us, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So I'm doing another interview today, and I wanted to share because I've got a question for you. I'm interviewing a young man named Jackson Spencer. Jackson won the Nike Cross Nationals on December 6th and then won the Brooks Cross Country on December 13th. He's undefeated this year as a senior. He's going to Tallahassee this weekend for the World Cross Country. He's 18 years old. He's state champion in Utah. It's run, 14:16 for a 5K. What advice would you give him as he approaches his first World Junior Cross Country?
run like I did. Run with the leaders.
Okay.
Run with the leaders and let them pull you along and just increase your speed and at the last if you have a kick go for it. If you don't have a kick you got to increase your speed sooner before the end of the race. I
Okay.
used to run the mile, and remember I
Okay.
ran 4:17 in the mile as a senior, but
Yeah.
I had no kick at the end, and
Wow.
so I said, well, I started thinking, what kind of strategy can I use in the mile to win more of them and to beat these speedsters?
Yeah.
And so what I did is I kicked. I said I figured out that my kick at the end was just at the end of the race was just as fast as if I were to kick in the middle of the race. It didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
So I at the back stretch of the third lap, I would kick. I would kick my as hard as I possibly could, and what I would do would gain distance, maybe 20, maybe 30 yards on these people,
Uh-huh.
and hopefully they wouldn't catch me by the end of a lap and a half later wouldn't catch me at the end of the race. Well, the people who are just speedsters and didn't put in the miles, they would be shocked and wouldn't go with me. The people that were speedsters and had endurance as well, that wouldn't phase them at all. Would like, for instance, John Music. I mean, that strategy didn't work with him. But
Yeah.
for those that it did work, they would have egg on their faces because I would beat them. And at the end of the race, they would know that they could have beat me if they had just stayed with me. But here's the thing: that strategy didn't. It only worked once.
But it worked in the right race, Bobby. That's the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bobby, thank you so much for your time today. You've made my day. And you know the I in the article I'm going to put with this interview. I'm going to find the photo. I still got the Runner's World where you're listed with your national record at 13:36 in Runner's World back in 1974. Yeah. And so I've got all those old issues and everything too. So thank you so much for making my day. I really appreciate it, and your enthusiasm, and you look great. And good luck in the real estate market. I sold my parents' house out in the Bay Area in 2022, so I understand how challenging that is. And I had a great real estate person, and you can't do it without him, you know?
So if you do call up Ralph Cerna,
Yeah.
ask him about the junior national race 1974 and the
Okay.
barriers and the final barrier at the end of the race, because he'll show you some pictures and he'll also tell you a really cool story from his perspective. I told it from my perspective, but he's even got a better story, I think, from his perspective.
All right, Bobby, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. This is Socialing the Distance. We had a special World Cross Country edition with the 1975 World Junior Champion in cross country, Bobby Thomas. Bobby, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Would you like me to call you Robert as well for your family? Will they recognize Bobby? Or are you okay?
They're okay with family. Yeah,
Okay.
Bobby's okay.
All
Bobby's
right.
okay.
Bobby, thanks. And then I'll send you the link and send it to Don as well. But
Yeah,
thank you
thank you
again.
so much, Larry. And my
Thank you.
whole thing
Oh
I
my.
was going to say is with if it would have been our race, Bobby would have been dodging snakes coming out of those bowls from the snake charmers, of course, in Rabat, on the streets of Morocco. And
Wow.
like we had the Alaska girl running in Foot Locker, she was dodging polar bears, running away from not polar bear, but from grizzlies, on her
Wow.
training and whatever. So Bobby, there must be some stories that we hope to learn about in the future that you didn't have time to divulge today. But thank you both. I thought it was an incredible interview.
Bobby, thanks again.
Thank you, Larry.